Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover the Millionaire Networking System, how to easily attract high-paying clients in today's episode with Christopher Kai. Christopher Kai is Inc. Magazine's Billionaire Networker, Fortune 100 global speaker, and #1 international best-selling author. First question is, what's the secret to your success?
Well, first of all, thank you, Lily, for this time to speak with you and your audience. Success is defined in different ways, and for me, it really is, what can I do every day that helps people, makes income, and I really love? So some people always define success as money, but frankly, Lily, so many people I know that have money, they're not very happy or successful. So I want to make sure that when people think about success, it's what I call perfect life, which is purpose and profit. Purpose to serve and a profit to actually make your dreams possible.
Thank you. Tell us about the Millionaire Networking System, how entrepreneurs can attract high-paying clients.
So I'll first share with why they should do this, frankly, because if you are in business, you want to really consider who your clients are, because most people that are not in business, I want to make money, I want to have life of my dreams, and they go into business and they don't have the money they want, nor the dreams that they want, because they'll find that if you focus on low-paying clients, those that don't pay a lot of money, you have to have more complaints, more gripes, more high maintenance. Whereas high-paying clients I define as over $10,000 US or more, where ultimately that's the most viable, most sustainable, and most fun. And the how you do it really is coming down to three main things, which you have to fill what I call the credibility gap, the communication gap, and the connection gap. So ultimately, a lot of people, they have a product that might not be geared toward a high-paying client. For instance, if you look at cars, or hotels or airlines, there's a reason why a Mercedes-Benz has a C-class, E-class, E-class, or S-class. Or in airlines, you have economy, you have premium economy, you have business class, first class. It's first just defining what your products are and how to cater to those clients.
Thank you. So how can entrepreneurs start to find those high-paying clients?
Yeah. Well, again, they have to first start by looking at themselves, because no high-paying client is going to care about them if they don't have an actual product that attracts high-paying clients. So the best way is really look at the brands they like. Even someone like Donna Karan or Giorgio Armani, like just start focusing on the brands they like and say, okay, does your brand convey a high-paying client value? And it can be as simple as saying elite or premium. You know, why does a Mercedes-Benz S-Class cost more than C-Class? Literally, because they define the S-Class as having more options more than S-Class. If you literally look at the actual copy of a S-Class, E-Class, and C-Class, does it really cost $150,000 more than a car that might cost $50,000, right? So to just keep it simple, the first step they should do is start looking at their product, and are they even sharing their product in a way that attracts high-paying clients? Because I can teach them literally how to find them, but the first person is credibility, which most people don't have, which is why I'm sharing with the audience how to build credibility based on words like saying you have a premium experience or you have a elite service. Otherwise, I can say, oh, this is how you find high-paying clients. Like go to a 5-star hotel. Literally, they're all there. But it doesn't matter, because I found that my clients, I can tell them how to get into the right rooms, but they didn't have the credibility, i.e. how they convey their value or communicate the value. So it really doesn't matter, frankly, showing them how to find high-paying clients yet.
Thank you. How do you bridge this gap of credibility from where you are to a higher level so you can attract these high-caliber clients?
Well, they hire someone like you and Harry, literally, by creating books for them, creating branding. You know this more than most, right? Like anyone can say they're an entrepreneur, anyone can say they're a business person, but if they don't have a book like yourself, or they don't hire someone like yourself to build the credibility, they're not going to attract the people they want. But one of the best ways, frankly, is to be an author like yourself or be a speaker like myself.
Thank you. How do they bridge the gap in communication to make sure the languaging, the messaging, the branding copy attracts the right high-paying clients?
Again, let's say there's a phrase they always say, money doesn't buy you happiness. We've all heard that phrase, but that's actually wrong. Because there's a happiness expert from Harvard named Arthur C. Brooks, who wrote and co-wrote a book with Oprah Winfrey, who's a #1 best-selling author. So I just anchored the fact that he's co-authoring a book with Oprah Winfrey. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He's a happiness expert, that word expert, and he's from Harvard. So it all sounds simple, but all those words convey credibility and value, which attracts high-paying clients.
Thank you. How do you bridge the gap between the energetic alignment, whereby you have the right energy to attract the high-paying clients?
I don't know if you frankly need certain energies. I mean, that's maybe more of a personal vibe, right? Because I know a lot of people that are not very nice, not very honest, don't have good energy, but they attract high-paying clients. So, but for me, I like to focus on people that have money, but also are kind, have good energy. So in that respect, the energy is that I don't think is the most important criteria, but it is something important to just know, does this person align with your values, as you were saying?
Thank you. What was the third element that you were saying that is missing in terms of there is a gap?
The connection, the actual connections, the network itself.
Okay.
Which is the simplest way is going to 5-star hotels. And it sounds so simple, but I meet a lot of people. I used to live in Beverly Hills, California. And so someone that, whether in the UK where we met or in Slovenia, it doesn't really matter where you are. Most places will have a 5-star hotel or a more premium hotel. And if they don't, then they have to fly somewhere, take a bus or train somewhere to go to a place where, let's say I was in Milan, for instance, last month for last year for a speech. It was in Lake Como, but I flew into Milan, right? At the time, I was a single man. So I literally Googled, where did the hot models go? And it said the Armani Hotel rooftop. And if you go to the Armani Hotel at the time, it costs 9,000 euros. So there's money everywhere. But when I find people that don't have high-paying clients, they have a mindset of either scarcity, poverty, or greed, where they're thinking, oh, I want them. Well, the more important question is, Lily, and for everyone listening, why would they want you? They don't need your money or want your money. Everyone's wanting them. That's why you have to be very mindful that if you don't have the credibility, hiring you to be an author, hiring me to be a speaker, if they don't communicate the value on basic body language, I can give them all the access in the world. But again, I found over and over and over again, people are just way too impatient, way too unrealistic, where I can tell them literally, go to a 5-star hotel, but what does that matter? Like, again, they're just confused. I'm like, as an example, a realtor. Realtors, financial insurance agents, I lump them all in the same category of a commodity where they all look the same, they all sound the same. So again, they go to a 5-star hotel, anywhere they want to go to, but they have no credibility, they don't communicate because they look like everyone else, and therefore it's less important to get into the right rooms first if they don't work on the credibility of hiring you or hiring me, or they don't even need to hire you. I'm just saying, it's really about understanding the psychology of them. And when they get into the right rooms, are they even observing who they are? Are they really understanding the types of things that they do? Whether they're wearing a $300,000 Richard Mille watch or wearing a Vuitton purse that costs $10,000. Like, they have to understand how wealthy people spend money. Otherwise, why would they be hired by them? Because they're just like, you can see in their eyes. Their eyes just says, I want money. They don't care about you or me. They care about themselves, as all of us do, right? So just really taking it simple. If they've never met anyone that's over a millionaire or a billionaire, they really should get comfortable by going to these places, which is simple. Anyone can go to a hotel and literally hang out in the lobby. And whether they do it or not, it's up to them. But I literally say it's what I call lobby hugging, where maybe they don't want to spend $30 on a drink. Go hang out in the lobby, literally. And that comes down to, oh, really, Christopher? I'm like, yeah, how are you going to get used to these situations if you can't even do one thing that's uncomfortable?
Thank you. How do you change this balance of power whereby, like you said, you become important to high ticket clients? You become noticed, you become wanted, you become so desired in your space that high paying clients have no choice but to say yes to your offer.
I love that question, Lily. It really is first internal. You know that phrase, fake it till you make it? I don't believe in that phrase, because even that phrase is inauthentic. I say, believe who you are on the inside before you become who you are on the outside. So first is a belief where I don't really see it as a balance of power. I just see it as you're powerful, I'm powerful, they might be powerful, but it's really more of like, we all have the same value as human beings. But if you want to get their value as actual money, then it's just really understanding your own value first. Before I was a successful entrepreneur, business owner, speaker, or other, I started believing myself. And literally standing up, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm a number one best-selling author. I'm a great speaker. I'm a millionaire. And I would say these things because our bodies don't know otherwise. If you say you're a millionaire, the people listening that are not a millionaire, oh, I'm not a millionaire. Well, yeah, if you say you're not a millionaire, but if you say I'm a millionaire and keep repeating yourself over and over again, there's a reason why people believe in the laws of attraction. There's a reason why people have affirmation. There's a reason why visualization works. There's a reason why the placebo effect works. They have literally scientific proof that you and I, if we go into a hospital, we have some pain in our back. There's scientific proof, according to the placebo effect, that we'll have a higher probability of less pain by just thinking we have less pain.
Thank you. I'm surrounded by wealth. I'm surrounded by wealthy people. But there's a difference between that and being able to close millions of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars all day long. So how do entrepreneurs bridge this gap of, being surrounded by wealth, going to these amazing hotels, being well-branded, and being able to actually close those deals that are super high ticket offers like 50K, 100K and more? Yeah.
The analogy I use is this. If let's say I have a client who is a painter, and I asked this painter of mine, we'll call his name Michael. I said, Michael, how much do you charge for your painting? Your painting? $500. Okay. Well, what if I introduce you to a gallery that every single painting in there is $500,000, $250,000, $350,000? So all of a sudden, that $500 painting is $350,000. So first is just making sure you frame your story where if you want to charge $50,000, make sure you say, oh, I'm so grateful to have, let's say my most recent client, he sold his company for $100 million. So you want to always anchor it with anyone you meet, with just letting them know very clearly the level of clients you work with. Someone asked me, hey, Christopher, what do you do? Oh, I have two types of clients. I have large corporations like eBay, Amazon, and Google, State Department, countries like Saudi Arabia hiring me as keynote speaker, or I have entrepreneurs, mostly 6, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs that hire me as a speaker or coach. So anyone that wants to attract these people, you want to at least focus on who have you worked with and who has the most highest net worth or salary or revenue.
Thank you. How do entrepreneurs go from having a regular business to all of a sudden networking with millionaires, billionaires, and so on?
Yeah, I would start more with millionaires first, but really the reason why I wrote a book about networking with billionaires, just as a backstory, Lily, I didn't grow up with any money or connections or experience or access. My mom was a school teacher in New York City. My dad worked for the city of New York. And so just to be clear on the people listening, you have to first have the mindset that it's possible. And then ultimately the skill set is just knowing that they're out there. And for you to really understand that if they're out there, just start taking that first step. Just go to the one hotel and just spend literally 20 minutes hanging around there and understanding what kind of things they wear. Like, even though I'm a minimalist, I'll still buy a tailored shirt so I look better, Because your question was what again, Lily?
I'm sorry?
Your question was, could you repeat the question?
How do you network with millionaires and billionaires?
Yeah. Again, going to the easiest way, or you can go to art galleries that have auctions which are free. You go to Sotheby's or Sotheby's. Go to polo matches, tennis matches, golf. All these things have an investment attached to it sometimes. But the best thing someone can do if they have no money, no connections, to look on their phone. And ideally, they have at least one person that makes 6 figures. Literally look at the phone, and that person on the phone that makes 6 figures, just reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, Michael, I admire your success. Perhaps you can mentor me. Because the best thing is to find their local community or the local contacts. And then from there, if they have someone that's 6 figures, well, do they have someone that's a millionaire? If someone that's a millionaire, do they have someone that's 10 million or 100 million or $1 billion? Because the billionaires, the ones that I've met, they usually go to charity functions that are at least $500 or $1,000. And whether you're American or not, doesn't matter. Whether it's 500 euros or 500 pounds, it doesn't matter. The point is, all these nonprofits need money. And if you literally Google a billionaire, let's say Richard Branson charity, you'll see, oh, he has Virgin United. They actually were interested in having me speak at their event. It's called the Necker Cup in his island in November, where you get to hobnob and hang out with billionaires and celebrities and tennis champions. And they charge $60,000 to $100,000. So there's a level of awareness where they can easily direct messaging on Instagram, christopherkidom.com or Christopher Kidom, K-A-I-D-O-M, and they can start seeing some of the things that I talk about, But the simplest thing is going to a 5-star hotel, going to a polo match or a golf match. And again, the first thing I hear is like, well, I don't have the money. Well, just deal with it. Are you spending money on your social media accounts? Are you spending money on a purse or a watch or things that don't have value in life, even vacations? The reality is you have to make priorities. I meet people all the time. I'm out of money. I'm out of money. Like, just you saying that is conveying that you have no value in yourself. Because I remember I was talking to a gentleman. It was at an event, and he's talking about how he's spending all this money on girls. And then he's like, "Oh, your book, how much is that? The book, you want to give it to me for free?" I'm like, "Why would I give it to you for free? You just told me you're spending hundreds of dollars on girls, and so my book's $20. You can't make it, and it is an investment." People that think about cost and expenses, they're not thinking in the right way. It's like you're investing your time. When I didn't have any money at the time, I would still put on my credit card, you know? And so the reality is networking with billionaires and millionaires is easy. You literally go to a 5-star hotel, but most people won't do it because they're afraid. They don't know what to say. What if they look stupid? You're not getting the point. I said, I'm not saying to get them as a client first. You have to start getting comfortable, getting confident, and then you start understanding what they want, not what you want. I just oftentimes, 99% of the time, Lily, I just see people that are overly impatient, very low level from a thinking standpoint, and they wonder why they don't have high-paying clients. High-paying clients don't need people to sell them stuff. They need actual, genuine friendships, authentic conversations, asking them about themselves. And in time, if you're smart and you think long-term, you get many clients that are high-paying clients.
Thank you. I find that millionaires and billionaires, a lot of them are always looking for a deal. And I often find that it's somehow easier sometimes to even sell, different programs and so on to people that are lower level. Do you find this the same thing, or do you find that it's actually?
No, I mean, there's a very clear difference between millionaires and billionaires. There's only 3,000 plus billionaires in the world, of 8 billion people. So I find that billionaires that actually are billionaires, and I just say they're billionaires, they think in different. They're like an institution. They're like actual company. Because if you have $1 billion, they're a company. If you're at a 7 figures, 8 figures maybe, but once you get to $100 million, that's a different level. So the deals, it just depends. Everyone wants to get a good deal, but it's all relative. Let's say someone it's like, let's say next week I'm accredited investor group. There's only going to be about 40 people there, and if I don't make at least $1 million, it's wasting my time. So I already am anchoring in my mind. Okay, who are these people? If they're investors, they have a certain amount of net worth, but that means, okay, 100 million, 10 million, 1 million. Someone that makes $1 million, yeah, it's not really that much money, because if you want to charge $50,000 for your services, that's going to be a tough ask. But I really don't focus on people that want deals, because that's not my mentality. I hate people that ask for refunds. I hate people who want deals, because when you walk into a Louis Vuitton store, I mean, the deal, you might want a deal, but if you walk into a Ferrari, that thing might be $200,000, and your deal is like, oh, throw in some extra things that normally would cost $300,000, but for you, I'll pay only $200,000, right? So the word deal or refunds, I don't really talk too much about that, because if that's their mentality, I'll just charge more money. And if you want $100,000 for your deal, literally, then I'll charge you $200,000. Oh, your deal is $100,000. It's literally the value you place in yourself is more important than you place on a product. But I find that people that don't understand sales and psychology and persuasion and negotiation skills, they don't really understand that it's just a number. They're focusing less on the person, and they're focusing less on what they want, because every person I've worked with that has real money, they weren't caring about $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 if they have real money. A lot of people say they have money, but they don't.
Thank you. What psychological triggers, techniques, tips can you give for entrepreneurs who want to close super high ticket programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, going back to credibility, his name is Robert Cialdini. They call him the Godfather of Influence. He wrote a book called The Influence. And he talked about how just based on having an authoritative brand gives you a 25% chance more of persuasion. So just saying, it's so funny, it's so simple, Lily, that you and I know this. Write a book, be an author. I mean, it's so obvious, but they don't think about it. They just keep talking about themselves. But the simplest thing is, literally, you can go on YouTube today and post a video and say, top authority in fill in the blank. Whether that's top authority in sales, top authority in marketing, or even simpler. Anyone that wants to be perceived as an authority, just put, you are a founder and CEO of fill in the blank company. And I don't care if you're 20 years old, 50 years old, 15 years old. If you're a founder, CEO of a company, you're already an authoritative figure, even if you have zero clients, because you can say you're a founder of company. When people like read and meet, they say the realtor, great. You're a financial advisor, great. It means nothing for the person that is going to hire you. So just saying you're a founder, CEO of some company that you've begun literally today, you're already going to be more authoritative and more persuasive than the most of the people that are out there just pitching stuff that no one cares about.
Thank you. How do you get billionaires to come to an event where I find, for example, that it's easier to get 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs rather than 9-figure and billionaire entrepreneurs to come to an event? For example, I find that 9-figure millionaires or billionaires would prefer to be just invited without having to pay anything to come to an event because
and I would actually invite them for free. I've gotten many billionaires come to my homeless youth program I started at a shelter. But even that, I framed it in a way where I said it's the only homeless youth program of its kind in the world. And I want to stress the words of its kind. So Elon Musk, I've gone there. John Paul DeJour, I've gone there. They're all billionaires. But the way I did it was largest homeless shelter, only program of its kind. So even the words I use, frame it in a way that they should come. Or if, let's say, frankly speaking, if they're a single billionaire, I'm like, hey, there's a lot of attractive women there. I'm very analytical and logical with things. Some people don't care about the charity, but they care about wealthy women or wealthy men, whatever it might be. I'm just saying it's not a coincidence that when people talk about Leonardo DiCaprio, oh my gosh, he's 49 years old. He always hung out 45-year-old, 25-year-old girls. I'm like, what do you, he's actually young. I mean, this is what some people might not want to accept. When you go to these very high-end places with very attractive women, surprise, surprise, there's a lot of powerful men there because it's just biology. Not sexist or anything. I'm just saying the truth. And when they look at Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a good-looking, famous, rich guy, but they joke around with him saying, oh, he's always hanging out 24-year-old girls. Well, what do you think who are there? But if you want to understand psychology, know that if you see very attractive models, those models know where the billionaires are. Why? Because the billionaires like models. And now those who are on this call that are women that might get very offended, you can get offended with me by not. It's not my game that I created. It's not biology. It's not what I'm telling you I'm thinking. I'm just telling you facts. You go to any fashion show, any Victoria's Secret modeling show, anywhere you see very attractive models, you're getting very powerful people. And so the women that are listening to this call, that's just life. That's not Christopher Kai saying, that's just life, right? But for your example, you're better off just being objective and saying you really need billionaire clients. It's more having that mindset of billionaires. And the reason why I like going to billionaire events is because with the billionaires there, you're gonna have multimillionaires, you're gonna have millionaires, you're gonna have everyone else. That's why it's so much easier, in my perspective, to do that. That's why I wrote a book about that. And so I agree with you, but at the same time, it's understanding how they think. And ultimately, if your price point is $50,000 or $100,000, you can just better off do installment plans, because people might be able to pay $5,000 a month for 10 months. So that's $50,000, I just think people are not aware that it's possible, but it is. It's a lot more possible than people might think.
Thank you. How to get people from, I'm very interested in this program of 50K or 100K or whatever, like super high ticket, to actually signing and being absolutely madly happy about it?
Well, it's first understanding where they're coming from, right? Because frankly speaking, if they're making $50,000 a year, they're not going to be happy, or because they already have what I call a middle-class mentality, which I had many, many years ago. And so it's first qualifying whether they spent money on a program before. And if they have, because some people unfortunately have been scammed before, some people have been sold, all these amazing promises. Because I've had these clients with me where they're, oh, that's a lot of money, Christopher. I'm like, okay, you're probably not my client, because if they already start off by saying, oh, I charge $25,000 for my lowest tier private coaching or whatever it might be. Oh, that's a lot of money. And then I'm not the fit for you. Because if $25,000 for you is not a good fit, then that's okay. And if they can't even afford $5,000 or $3,000, then that's okay too, because sometimes it's not your client. I just focus on rooms that I know they have the money, have the interest, but I don't convince people to be happy with my programs or coaching. They have to convince me to work with them.
Thank you. I find that speaking is one of the top ways to attract high caliber clients, especially 6, 7, 8 figure and up millionaires. And I find that there's something magic that happens when you go on a stage and you have at least 100 entrepreneurs there. And of course, if the crowd is even bigger, then it looks even more impressive. Tell us about your experience around the world speaking and how this impacted your brand and how this could potentially impact the brand of entrepreneurs who want to attract high-paid clients.
That's a phenomenal question, Lily, and I'll show you by example. I just turned my virtual background into a stage I've spoken on where there are 12,000 people at one conference. So it's not, oh, I'm talking to you, Lily. Now, oh my gosh, Christopher spoke at a 12,000 person conference where Richard Branson, Billionaire, spoken at, and the Steve Wozniak from Apple spoken at, and Julie Swift and Accenture. But what I'm saying is, this for your own example and for everyone else. Just accept that no one cares about you. And now I know that sounds harsh, but just walk through my train of thought. You are trying to sell someone your product. Why should they care about you, right? You have to convince them per se. But if you're on stage, you already have authority built in, you have scarcity built in, you have optics built in, and just based on 3M research, images are absorbed 60,000 times faster. When you speak on stage, Lily, when I speak on stage, you think I have an issue getting clients? No, because like you said, the bigger the stage you're on, the more authority you have, the more credibility you have. So the reality is this: if you don't stand out, whether literally on a stage, physically or virtual, you're not going to get the clients you want. And that's why I always stress the single best way to build authority, build credibility, build scarcity is to be on stage, whether in front of 10 people virtually or 10,000 people in person, because the reality is we live in the most distracted time in human history, Lily, where every single tech company spends billions of dollars trying to get our eyeballs. So your competition is not your business that's competing against you. It's Amazon, Google, Netflix, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, any whatever fill in the blank social media you use. That's your competition. So if you don't stand out like you do, Lily, with your business, with your books, or me in the speaking world, where I coach people how to become speakers, I coach people how to find a network, I coach people how to build that credibility, they're not realistic, especially for high-paying clients, since the whole point of this conversation was, how do you easily attract high-paying clients? You start posting pictures of yourself, of famous people, of celebrities. I remember this architect who's very conservative, and the feedback was, Christopher seems very shallow because he tells us to take pictures of photos. I'm like, yeah, idiot. You might think it's shallow, but what do you think marketing is? It's optics. He was just using his ego talking, and he's more logical, and he doesn't get very high-paying clients because he forgets that what do you think marketing is? It's optics. It's actual superficial. It's surface. He called it shallow. I call him not very bright, but that's just a choice of words, you know?
Thank you. The other thing I find is that when you speak on stage, you attract these billionaires, multimillionaires, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think communication, effective, charismatic, confident communication has a massive role in it. So for example, you're so charismatic, so fun, you look so good, right? Like you are likable as a person. I think that's a big criteria in terms of attracting high-paying clients. Do you agree?
No, I don't. I don't agree at all.
Yeah.
I've been on so many, doing this one, we had some of the most boring speakers in the world. But since they're a billion-dollar company, then they don't care how great their speaker. I literally go to the vast majority of conferences I go to, Lily, I would say 90% of speakers are horrible. They're not there because they speak well. They're there because they have some level of expertise that warrants them to be speaking at that event. I'm in the actual business of speaking. I get hired to speak, so therefore I do speak well. And I can say that unabashedly because it's not about being arrogant. It's like, no, I've done this for 20 years. I've earned the right to say I speak phenomenally well. I can share the stage with anyone only because I've earned the right to do that, right? So I don't really agree that you have to be an anime speaker, because I meet so many speakers that are horrible speakers, like so many speakers. I'm not going to name names because I know many of them, but most of the time I see speakers on stages, they often aren't being hired for their speaking ability. But for people that don't speak well, don't have a business, don't have authority, and haven't built a company, then you have to start learning how to, as what you said, learn how to communicate better. Because what happens is that they see people on stage, well, Mark Zuckerberg isn't a great speaker. Yeah, but he's a billionaire and he owns Facebook. So they look at that person as examples like, well, you don't really need him. Like, no, if you're there, you don't really need many things. But if you want to get there, you have to remember someone like a Warren Buffett, who took a public speaking class when he was 20. And Warren Buffett said that public speaking is a skill that will last you 50 or 60 years. Now, I'm going to call Warren Buffett out on a lie, because Warren Buffett is turning 94 years old this month. And so it's lasted him 74 years. So though he said it'll last you 50, 60 years, it has lasted him 74. And frankly, it'll last you for life. So people that are listening to this call, I hope they realize that they should really learn from you, Lily, and perhaps from myself, where you will not get high-paying clients if you don't convey a level of confidence. That's whether on stage or off stage, because just by the tone of voice, I have zero doubt in my voice that anyone I meet, I can help. Not because I'm the smartest or brightest, because I know my lane. If it's branding, marketing, sales, speaking, I know what I do well. Don't ask me about computers. Don't ask me about operations. Don't ask me about human resources. But if it's like sales, branding, marketing, networking, I'm your guy.
Thank you. What else have we missed in terms of your Millionaire Networking System, how to easily attract high-paying clients?
Really letting people know that it's possible, and it's a system. Just like a car company has a factory, it's what I call being a dam, not a toy. DAM stands for be a decisive action machine, or a toy means I gotta think it over, yeah? How many clients have you met, Lily? They gotta think it over. No, you're not gonna be successful, you're thinking over. Jeff Bezos talks about how you have to be decisive. Warren Buffett literally talks about how he spends 5 minutes on making decisions. And it doesn't matter whether it's 5 months, 5 minutes, but that's on allocating billions of dollars. So the single most important point that I hope your listeners learn is be a dam, not a toy. A dam is being a decisive action machine, and not a toy, which is, I gotta think it over, yeah? Thinking it over is not gonna help. If you don't hire someone like Lily and myself, we've done it over, like, how many books have you written and for your clients, Lily?
At least 30.
Yeah. So it's someone that's arrogant enough to talk to you about, well, I don't know, literally, if I need your experience, and they've written 0 books. And so in their mind, you think, well, I don't know if I need you, literally, I don't know. It's like, that's their thoughts. If they actually know how much time, attention, resource, talent, skill set, I've written books to my clients as well. That's why I know what you do. That's why I don't do what you do anymore. I do speaking, There's a lot of work involved. So I commend you for doing a service that people need. But the single most important thing is be a dam, not a toy. Be more of a decisive action machine and not a toy thinking it over. Because if you spend more than 5 minutes on what to eat for lunch, you got to work on spending 10 seconds on that. Because if you're thinking that much just for lunch, how are you going to be a decisive action machine and build a business of value if you're thinking on what to spend for lunch? And that's just the reality of life. Be more decisive.
Thank you. Now, I organized some events, and I had 2 billionaires at those events, and I found that they were they really added a lot of value to the event. Do you find that this is the case as well in events that you participate or organize? Does inviting billionaires attract paying clients as well?
Absolutely. Because people that really want to do well in business, I see billionaires, Lily, as the Michelangelos, the Da Vinci's, the Dalis of capitalism. They've won the game. You can hate Elon Musk, love Elon Musk, hate Oprah Winfrey, love. It doesn't matter what you think. Again, objectively, if we're in business, why would you not want to focus on the people that have literally won the game of capitalism? If there's 8 billion people and there's only about 3,000 people that are billionaires, absolutely attracted, because they're very rare. They're like unicorns. You have more people there. You have less billionaires than people that have climbed, I think, Mount Everest. I'm just saying it's a very rare people to have them come. And for you to have been able to get some of them at events, it speaks volumes to your character and your credibility and your energy, So absolutely they attract them.
Thank you. What's your message to entrepreneurs worldwide?
To do some good in the world. Because if it's only about money, you'll never be happy or successful. So if you want money, it's important. But you also want to have meetings. So my message is do your best to create what I call a perfect life. PURFIT. You have both the purpose to serve and the profit to make it happen. So I hope all of you know that money is important. Money can buy happiness based on research, but making sure you find some meaning in the work. Otherwise, you'll have the most vacuous, empty life that even no matter how much money you make, it won't matter. But if you only have giving and service, you might be broke as well. So you really have to have both.
Thank you. Do you find that opening the door first, of opportunity to billionaires, 6, 7, 8-figure earners also helps you to attract high-paying clients?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, for billionaires, since I have coaching programs, right? It depends on the client. So for instance, recently I had a woman who invested in a group coaching program, and she asked me to make an introduction to a $1 trillion economy conference. And I said, no. And she got all offended. And I said, look, I have different tiers of programs. You are in my group coaching. I have private coaching. So I'm not going to just make these introductions just because you invested a very low price point, you know? So some people might be offended. So I'm very mindful that since I'm a coach, I have very successful contacts, but I'm not going to just introduce them after the heck of it, unless they're another billionaire or there's some value that everyone gets it, because I spent decades building my Rolodex. So why would I just give them away? Unless they are a client of mine that has invested a lot of money in me, right? So I'm very careful and mindful of people that ask me for favors, quote unquote. But the best case scenario is you do want to give of your contacts, but there are different levels. Because if you spent, how long did it take you to find and meet those billionaires, Lily?
Not that long, honestly.
Okay, well, you're much smarter than I am, but you know, but I'm just saying
But
I would be careful.
like, I mean, from the moment of contacting them to actually coming to an event, not that long, but it took me years to build the credibility to get.
Exactly. Again, you're at a different level than I think a lot of your clients might be, you know, and I don't think they even realize how much time you spent, you know. Yeah, oh yeah, I've gotten 3 billionaires at this event, but it wasn't just by accident. Oh yeah, I just approached Elon Musk that one time, you know. So it wasn't really that hard, but it was the many years I spent to build the skill set to go there. That is why I'm very mindful of who I introduce my clients to, because why would I just give my contacts to people I don't know? Unless if they hire me, then, you know, I might be open to it, but people just think it's an introduction. I'm like, no, it's not an introduction. It's my reputation on the line. It's my credibility on the line. You know, it's all the time I spent on building the connections to make that 5-second introduction. That's not just 5 seconds. The introduction is 5 seconds, but all the time it took me to understand the ability to build the rapport, build the trust, not just 5 seconds. And people that are not very aware of true, meaningful relationships, they think it's, oh, it's such an introduction. No, it's not just an introduction.
Thank you. How do you communicate the value to a billionaire or a 9-figure earner, considering, let's say, perhaps you're not in that bracket? I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general, how can entrepreneurs do that?
I would just reach out to the nonprofit. The best way to reach out to these 9-figure, 10 like billionaires is to focus on what causes that they're involved with, fundraisers, galas, because they're not really interested in many people as a business owner, only because, they're being pitched all the time. And the worst thing you can do is just ask them for something in the very first conversation. But the best way is nonprofit charities. And the how is literally type in the billionaire's name and type charity. If they don't even have any charities or galas that they're involved with, you don't really want to even hang out with them anyway, frankly, because if they're not serving people with their billions, what's the point of even getting to know them? I meet so many billionaires that are not very nice people. And I decided in my earlier career, I just wanted to learn. And I realized in my point now in business, I don't need them. So I don't need to work with them. But to keep it simple, focus on nonprofit galas that have these annual charities that want to raise money. That's the easiest way to potentially meet them. And you have to make an investment, whether it's $500, $5,000. And I say investment, it's a donation, but they're not going to get otherwise, because they may think, oh, it's a lot of money, Christopher. I'm like, it's all perspective. If let's say you spend $5,000 on a charity gala every year, but you can make $50,000, $500,000, $5 million, or $50 million, it's like the best investment in your life, you know? And then it's about, okay, how do you get that money? Just save up for it or put it on a credit card. People have credit cards for a reason.
Thank you. However, how do you communicate the value once you're in front of that billionaire or 9-figure earner? How do you communicate your value as an entrepreneur to make sure that you do close super high ticket items?
Again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning of the call. You have to, what I call a boss bio. Christopher Kai is a Fortune 100 global speaker. Lily Patrascu is an award-winning entrepreneur. I mean, you have to create that value in the words you share in what I call a boss bio, which most people just say they're a marketing person. Who cares? You know, they're passionate about sales. Who cares? Again, it sounds very harsh, but I just meet people over and over and over again, including multimillionaires, by the way, or people that built companies. They're a successful entrepreneur. Are they a top entrepreneur in their field? Do they have 20 years of experience? So the way you convey value is making sure you share your value in a quantifiable, measurable way. whether you're a number one best-selling author or a top person in your industry or award-winning author, it has to have some level of top-tier stuff. Otherwise, why should they want to work with you? Because you're not conveying your value in the words you share and the words you speak.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.